Good morning, councillors and council staff, and welcome to member meeting for Murrumbidgee Council. I would like to pay our respects to the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of the local government areas, and to all Aboriginal elders past and present and emerging. We are committed to honouring the continuing connection that First Australians hold to Murrumbidgee's land, waters and community as one of the oldest living cultures in human history. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the Murrumbidgee Council Facebook page. A recording will also be placed on Council's website following the meeting. I ask for any apologies. Everybody's present. The minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 22nd of August 2023. Somebody like to move the true and accurate record, please. Moved Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Saxton. Back to the council. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. I remove councillors of their pecuniary interest declarations. I have one here from Councillor Major regarding agenda item 7. So thank you very much for that. Major. No notices of rescission or notices of motion. I'll move to item number 1, which is the election of the Mayor and the Deputy Mayor, and I'll hold to the General Manager.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. So every 2 years we hold elections for Mayor and Deputy Mayor. And I'll go through to the next election for 2 years, whichever is the shorter period of time. I say that qualifying because they pushed us out a year last time, if you can remember. So theoretically, these officers will hold this position until the 14th of September 2024, which is the scheduled election next year. I'm in the second nomination already. Is there any further nominations that wish to come forth? Not a problem. I'm in receipt of nominations for Mayor, being Councillor Ruth McRae, and for Deputy Mayor, Councillor Robert Black. There's no further nominations coming forth, then I declare Councillor Ruth McRae as Mayor, elected unopposed. And Councillor Rod Black as Deputy Mayor, elected unopposed. The end, hand back over to Councillor McRae for the mayoral report.
Thank you very much, John, and thank you to our fellow councillors for showing your confidence in investing us for that 12-month term. Thank you very much. My mayoral report, as I stated, has been a pretty quick turnaround, which is difficult for councillors, staff and everybody concerned regarding the short time frame. And I'd just like to thank the councillors and staff for accommodating my request for the change of council meeting. So thank you very much for that. There's been some real evidence of spring. The days are warming up, although the nights and mornings are still cold, and we are watching and waiting for rain. And just driving here this morning, while our crops look good here, they do need a drink. Our council meeting this month is being held in Colliamley. Our Colliamley Community Hall has undergone extensive redevelopment at an estimated cost of $550,000. And this will now be home to our Colliamley held council meetings. We'll also have the ability to be used for many other events and occasions. This upgraded community asset sits on the rise that overlooks Brolga Place and has pride of place in the centre of town. I also noted at the same time that the redevelopment of Brolga Place is progressing well. Recent photos show the installation of the lighting, which certainly portrays a bright and well-lit central area, which enhances this hub beautifully. As I write this report, the replacement of the concrete is commencing. This challenging aspect does include the replacement of a water main, so we'll be working together for the greater good exercise. The fact that these projects are progressing is very positive. I was fortunate to be invited along with Murrumbidgee Council staff to the cultural site cleansing event facilitated by Transgrid at the Dinnerone substation site south of Coleambally. With about 60 people in attendance, we were privileged to witness the Dinnerone dances, welcome and a ritual smoking ceremony. Access to the site will be occurring in the near future. There will be an accommodation village erected that will house up to 300 people. It was a very valuable networking event and opportunity because the who's who of who drives and is in that economic development space for local and regional levels are there. On the 31st of August and 1st of September, I attended a two-day local health advisory forum in Denilton. There were around 90 attendees from across the whole of the Murrumbidgee local health team. It was a great opportunity to listen to their status report, speaking to their initiatives and their many significant challenges, the greatest of which is workforce. Our greatest challenge as a local health advisory committee is attracting people to be part of this committee. The larger, more engaged committees are able to facilitate a variety of health and wellness sessions, but the smaller LHACs like Murrumbidgee have limited focus and deliverability. Our main focus in Murrumbidgee is advocating for greater inclusion in all health-related positions that are available. Advertising and seeking to attract staff is a huge issue. We have a very band-aid approach at the moment, which is really challenging, even getting those resources, but especially challenging for our staff who work there full time. I take my hat off to them. It's their loyalty and commitment that has enabled, particularly the health facility in Murrumbidgee, to keep its doors open. On the 6th of September, the General Manager and I met with the Office of Local Government Deputy Secretary Brett Whitworth and Cameron Templeton to discuss the many burning issues. Our conversation covered areas such as stronger community funds acquittal, its deadlines and its processes, joint organisations, their viability to stand alone with state input, RFS Red Fleet, the Audit Office ongoing dialogue, and our attitude around the need for a review of the Local Government Act to make it current and fit for purpose, which that's a roadshow that Brett and Cameron were undertaking. It's valuable in one regard. It's just frustration of these ongoing conversations that just seem to go round and round and round. Makes it challenging to operate in these spaces. I have also attended meetings with the Coleambally Community Club, the Monash Statue Committee, and I was to attend the RFS Murrumbidgee Captain's meeting last night, which I didn't get to, but we did have council representation at. And again, I'd like to just acknowledge those that are engaged in our final series across our sporting network. They've done exceptionally well to get to the level they've got to. I hope they represent the Murrumbidgee local government area with pride. And I'd just like to mention that our junior under-14 was time the grand final on Saturday, so that was fantastic. And below are a list of the meetings I attended. Nothing out of the ordinary apart from the cultural cleansing side event I attended. And as I said, it's a pretty short turnaround, so it's not as long as it's normal. Any questions, please? Councillor Turbin.
I just wondered how your reception was with workers Templeton over the RFS Red Fleet. The RFS Red Fleet.
Okay.
How you went?
Would you like to comment on that ongoing dialogue with the RFS issues?
So probably just a little bit, go backwards a little bit. Office of Local Government instigated a report, and it was done by a credible author, an accountant, probably dare say CPA, that's why But also is on the Australian Accounting Standards Board and things like that. OLG paid for that body of work and come back and said that the red fleet is not the responsibility of council. Treasury come out and said they did their own report by nobody that we can determine, nobody has been able to answer that question, there's nobody that we can peer review, and Treasury said no, it's council's responsibility. The auditors sat on the side of that. So when we're speaking with the Office of Local Government in relation to those sort of issues, they've got their credible piece of work and the other things, but they've got to fall in line with what government is talking about at this time. But our continuous dialogue and our letters going back and forth with Treasury, Emergency Services, RFS and everything else like that, we received an email back from the person that I was put in touch with by the Minister, responsible for RFS, and he gave me some information which I have since passed on to the Deputy Secretary of Local Government, because that has been completely and utterly something new that we've ever seen before. Sort of supports a lot of opinions and like that. So I don't know what he's going to do with it. But the Office of Local Government has been popping a caning from the office, from the Auditor General, saying that OLG has not been being the watchdog of local government, not being hard enough on us, making us toe lines and all that sort of nasty letters saying that if we don't get out of qualified opinion after 2 years, then they'll send it in, they'll send in all that sort of stuff. So we had a bit of a long discussion in relation to all of those sort of things. There's 42 local governments that got qualified because they didn't put RFS assets on there. So they're going to have to find a lot of financial administrators for 42 councils at the end of the day. It's not a practical opinion of the Deputy Secretary. It's not ever going to recommend that because it's just ridiculous on the one issue. So it's just an ongoing argument somebody has to give. Any time that we've broached those conversations, and I was prepared to give and put the assets on there, but when you talk to the audit office, they say it's going to be all this long process because it's going to go through the technical committee and it could be forever and all of those sort of things, and we have to do prior year adjustments and blah, 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 blah. And we might get a guarantee that we'll not get a qualified audit because they might find something wrong with the data. And we could be delayed, seek extensions. So nothing really came out of our conversations with the Office of Local Government in relation to the RFS, but we're still going.
Apart from the fact that we said we wouldn't before, and we won't be. And we just encourage the Office of Local Government to work harder on our behalf in that realm, because they are our representative body. And it's standard tactics to indicate that if we have a further qualified opinion, then it will impact on our, sustainability and viability. We said we run a good ship here, and it's not our decision, it's not our issue that we are receiving qualified opinions. It's bureaucratic madness, and we are out of 43 out of 128 councils. Basically, the math's not that good. I said a quarter, but it's actually a third. A third of the councils are standing their ground. Well, you need to actually take notice of what's going on.
I would assume that those 42 would be nearly all rural.
Yeah,
Yes.
and of course there's, if you wanted to just use, there'd be 42 that probably don't have RFS assets or don't fit a materiality. Like Albury City doesn't put RFS on their books, but it's immaterial to them, so they don't get a qualification. Berrigan didn't put their RFS assets on their books. It's immaterial, they didn't get a qualification. So there's all of those, there's a lot of those that I only know of like 10 or 15 that actually have RFS assets on them.
But it was a valuable conversation. It's almost like pushing the replay button. And I seriously hope, I seriously think that they're just hoping we'll roll over and just go, it's too hard. No.
And we're hoping that the person behind it is going to retire soon.
Yeah, probably. But it was a valuable conversation we had, wasn't it, John, across lots of different issues, and it's good to put a face to the people that are leading our organisation, and they had some very clear messages and stands, and I think at the end of the day we're doing a very admirable job in this space, and this is just a speed up we need to roll out.
So in relation to the conversation with the SCF funds, so we were told that they wanted to have all of the SCF funds included by the 30th of December 2023, and we said that's impossible. We've got $1.8 million that is set up for our water, sitting there to do our water, and I just produced the purchase order to Public Works to do the integrated water cycle management plan in March 2020, and we're not expecting it until at earliest February 2024 before we can act on it. And that $1.8 million that we got there, the council knew that at the start of the merger that they needed to do that because they knew that the systems needed the reservoir at Darlington Point, we needed the water to be fixed thing, and they're quite aware. The Deputy Secretary is quite well aware that we can't do that without the authority of New South Wales Water. New South Wales Water's not giving us authority until we do the integrated water cycle management plan. So I'm pretty confident that once we explain that rationale, that we'll get the extension on that to probably 2027, 2028, or whatever it is that we need to be able to do that.
And that does not mean that council will sit idly and wait till 27, 28 to get the work done. No. But it gives it some breathing space.
No, we'll start the work straight away.
Yep.
Once the commission,
yep.
Commission designs, start commission, go on tenders and get things built. They
It does take. Any other questions? Would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Major, seconded Councillor Black. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 2, please.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Just a schedule for September, we do council meetings for the next year. We've kept with the fourth Tuesday of the month, unless we know of something going to kick us out. In relation to that, being November, there's a clash, hence why it's the third Tuesday of the month. We have 11 meetings a year, so we don't have a January meeting, and our December meeting normally falls in line with a date in December for our final Christmas party, with the date set there, rotating the council meetings between the Collamley, Darlington Point and Jerilderie throughout the year. See the dates that are sitting there. Our meeting times will be 2 p.m. Right.
Okay. Any questions of John, please?
Can I just ask why we're changing to 2 p.m. when we're currently doing it at 11?
Can't hear you, Christine.
The 2 p.m. So yeah, when we went through it, so we're only having one workshop. We'll start off the workshop in the morning at 9 o'clock, go through council meeting to get rid of the business and go from there.
That's fine.
Can I just encourage everybody to speak up, please, because we need to speak a little louder in a bigger space. Okay. So that was moved. No questions? No further questions? Somebody like to move the report, please? Move Councillor Jerwin, secondly Councillor Kirky. I'll put the recommendation. The council schedule monthly council meetings for the 4th Tuesday of October, the 3rd Tuesday of November 2023, and the 4th Tuesdays of February 2024 to September 2024. Secondly, council meetings commence at 2 p.m. Thirdly, the meeting venues alternate between Murrumbidgee, Darlington, Port and Colleamble as follows: Murrumbidgee, October 2023, February, May and August 2024, Darlington Point, November 2023, March, June and September 2024, and Colleamble, December 2023 and April and July 2024. And fourth, the December ordinary meeting of council will be held on Friday, the 8th of December 2023, commencing at 11 a.m, followed by the councillor staff annual meeting and Christmas party to be held at the Colleamble Community Club, commencing at 1 p.m. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Once again, every year, September, we look at the appointment of council representatives to our committees, 355 committees, external and internal advisory bodies. Upon representation from councillors, there have been only 2 changes. One being that Councillor Bryce stood down from the libraries and Councillor Shergood stood up for the libraries. The NITAG had been removed from as being a committee, and the only other thing was just to note with the traffic committee, with the advent of Murrumbidgee, the whole of Murrumbidgee Council being represented by the Murray electorate, whereas in the past we had Albury and Murray electorate patch. It's just been down to one representative, which is Manton Star representing Murray Council. Any questions for the committees, appointments, final amendments?
No?
If I must.
If you must. Somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor that the recommendation be put, and the recommendation will read that council representatives, as detailed in the table, be appointed to the standing and special committees, Section 355 committees, advisory, external and internal committees. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. My monthly report. Just want to start off with the first thing is the Drury Early Learning Centre. We've been in discussions with the Early Learning Centre for some months now. There's quite a few reasons beyond their control that they approached council to take over the service into the Drury community. Major issues are staffing and the ability, the service of the sound service, the ratios with staff and qualified staff that is an impediment to getting them to maximise the numbers that walk through the front door, and without maximising the numbers that walk through the front door, you're going to have an inability to raise enough revenue to operate the service. So our focus will be taking on the business, the operation, control of the business. We'll enact plans and resources. We'll do a three-year plan. We'll recruit the appropriate staff and the qualifications that we need to be able to maximise the enrolments, and we'll move forward with that. It will take time for council to be the licensed operators, so we'll be working through the incorporated community to ensure that the service continues to operate throughout the year. Also requesting an allocation of $250,000 from the 23-24 budget to undertake this transaction and operate the centre. Utilising that on the external advisors that we need to be able to get the service into our name to operate and have a bit of operating capital to be able to ensure that the service remains open for remainder of the financial year. Biggest ticket will be to attract the qualified staff so that we can get. Also, Gary Stoll and I were approached by Kelly Churkin, presented the concept of grazings in areas of our bushlands. So we've requested that proposals come in from her to on the areas behind the hotel on Kingfisher and the Kookaburra Avenue to the cemetery in Colliamley areas. We haven't received any proposals yet. Gary informs me. So we'll be able to evaluate them once they come in. It's going to be a worthwhile exercise over and above what we do now with spraying and mowing and all whatever else we do in those areas. Just wanted to give a bit of the specific days that have been spent in Colliamley and Darlington Point to allow business and community to come to see me. Over that time, there's been over 20 people. Some of the topics, I just wanted to put some things down, the ambulance for Darlington Point. So we've got the Media and Communications Officer working with that group. We want to do some proposals up, help them with some submissions and some advertising and everything else like that to try and get the word out there for the need for that ambulance. As Council is well aware, anytime Councillor McRae and I get an opportunity to be able to mention the need for an ambulance station in Darlington Point, we do. But one of the people power is the biggest influence that will get any change to happen in relation to that. So even just their anecdotal stories that they have is just going to be golden for the media and communication to be able to put some things out, some press releases along those nature, and even to try and find out. We want to find out the tailgate statistics, because why would anybody in Darlington Point surrounds ring an ambulance, put them in the car and take them straight to them? I've been told there's got to be some postcode data that we should be able to get out of where the presentations to emergency are coming from a postcode, and if they're coming in by ambulance or by, as they say, the tailgate, so that you just prove, because as we know, the new services for ambulances that are getting built in Sydney are all based on 000 calls. And why are we bothering to ring Woe? We know we can get them to the bloody hospital an hour and a half quicker than by ambulance. So we've got to get those sort of things to be able to make the case forward and be able to do that. So that's why the anecdotal data is good. And we're reaching out to Murrumbidgee Local Health District to hopefully be able to use that sort of data at the end of the day. And the same thing approaching about more footpaths in town. So gave the ability to show them the footpath maps and everything were redone, and they hadn't seen them, so I said, well, this is the opportunity. Council has adopted them, but if any ideas or anything else like that, then get them through and see the plan of what we are doing. But as I say, whilst I've got some days set down for September and October, that I'll be around, I encourage the community and business that if they want to see me, I'm happy for we can get it literally in practical time, that I'm happy to travel on and Darlington Point or Colliamley to meet those things. Another thing that's just a bit of arsenine in the Local Government Act, one of the reasons why we requested that we need a review of the Local Government Act is, if you can remember when we workshopped whether we wanted to change the number of councillors or anything else like that, and there was a decision that we keep exactly what the numbers that we've got. Thankfully for Caitlin, she pointed it out that there's actually a very specific thing within section 224.2 that we must have a resolution to say that we're even going to keep the exact same numbers that we've got. Anything else like that, it's another unnecessary piece of red tape. But we'll do that. We're fine. The local government election's not until the to the 14th of September 2023. It's the 12th of September, so we're within our 12 months by 2 days.
2024.
2024, yeah. Sorry.
Not
Not
in
2
2
days'
days'
time. Whoops.
That's chasing your tail.
I just wanted to highlight some projects, and Councillor McRae's already mentioned the Bronx Place and the Collie Hall. We can just we can just look around the room where we are at the moment, or just down the street to see those things. I just want to point out to councillors and communities that we formally applied for $12.66 million and change for flood damage claim. We're just waiting for that to be assessed. Obviously, we had a meeting last week. Is there any follow-up on that? That you can tell me? Not at all. Not a worry. Rural and local repair program, we've got $2.9 million or thereabouts with that. It's sort of catch-22. We know that there's damage to the roads. We've picked it all up in our assessments. We've got a nice little picture of it all and everything else like that. We haven't allocated completely the $2.9 million. If there's things that have come out of the damage, it's not going to get paid, or we're going to be ineligible for the $12.66 million, then we'll be able to take that and be able to make sure that our roads are be able to do those things. Monash Park netball change rooms. Tom, you had a conversation with both with the contractor in Monash and public space leasing program yesterday. Luke Park, you got an update that you want to just quickly say now?
They've given us a price and they're just fine-tuning everything with all the trades, and final figure will be presented to you to allocate to ensure that we can go ahead with the process. Really at this stage, I can't give you a number. We may probably need to cut a few corners to reduce some of the construction needs in those buildings or fill the funding gap.
With both the change rooms and the park?
Well, the contract one has to be together. They won't do one, they want to do both.
Okay. Well, there should be efficiencies if they're doing 2 projects, Tom, so, so we won't be cutting too much.
It's positive, but they did mention, can we go away from bricks and mortars to tin? And I said, no, we need to stay with the bricks based on the netball chain. But that's where we're at. We're very close.
Okay. So can you identify who the contractors are?
Yeah,
we identified that.
Council appointed them.
Yeah, but just for the conversation.
Oh yeah, design with the set.
Yeah.
They're the same contract. The daycare center.
Okay, thank you for that.
Just the lift and change facility at Darlington Point. It's up in Flushing, so go your hardest. And Darlington Point Splash Park, just as part of the request from the state government to approve a change from taking money from the Adrian Douglas Park into the to the Splash Park. We need to demonstrate that that's the community will, so we've been going around having conversations, seeking letters of support, so to make sure that we can demonstrate to the government that we have the support to move that money from the fence at Adrian Douglas Park to the fence to the Splash Park, and we'll get that going. And from the records, it looks as though the Young Street subdivision is sitting at around about 25% of works complete and is motoring along. All the stormwater and sewer is in the ground. Yes, correct. And we're forming the roads or deforming the roads or whatever you want to say. And has the water main started? No, not yet. I haven't spent any time on the rural farm break. It's only a 2-month circulation. In relation to that, I'll get back onto that as soon. So, just in relation to all of those wonderful things, any questions? Councillor Major?
Young Street subdivision, how's it going compared to budget?
So we're about 25% complete. I'm going to put it there.
We've had very minimal variation.
Prepared to answer earlier. There you go.
So we are.
Prepared the answer earlier.
We are, well, listen to this, we're 5% complete and we've spent 19% of the money. Right, but that doesn't mean that some of the
There could be a bit of
expensive
lag.
stuff is coming later. Yes,
variations that are limited.
Minimal variation, well, that's positive, yes.
Councillor Jordan?
The sustainable grazing, I'm totally against it going behind the motel. There's a number of species in there that would, that are on the ground that would be really impacted by any sort of grazing. That's the garland, really, the native jasmine. There's hot bushes in there. As far as the flora goes in there, I don't think it would benefit from grazing. The other thing is, how the hell are you going to fence it?
Oh, that's all part of the proposal that comes forward.
And I don't think it would be very favourably on by local
And
community.
animals, microbats and a few other things.
Yeah, I just don't think the community would come at it, to be honest.
A lot of people use it for walking tracks too.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be, all of that has to still be available to everybody. Thank you for that comment. Gary's taking that on board.
Just as a comment, does it have a more favourable fire mitigation
Not really.
aspect than just what we're doing now?
I've had, because I've always worried about it because I'm one of the ones that actually walk in there. But when you look at the actual ground cover, because it's so dense in there, there's not a lot of fuel on the ground. Biggest hassle you'd have would be if there was a strong westerly and something sparked and it would go through. But there's really good fire trails in there. And the council does maintain those fire trails really well.
Which brings us on to fire breaks for this season coming. Going to those fire breaks for the season coming.
Well, we're programmed to go, so with RFS we need to apply a Guardian software program that they have. So we're in consultation with them.
We need to get on the ground because it's not very far away. We're 31 degrees.
We're starting
this
in
weekend.
October.
First of October is our tradition.
True, but we've got a very hot burst starting as of tomorrow, Friday.
We were at an RFS meeting yesterday, and there's already, there's already section 44s in place that, they have horrific fires up there. And there's no doubt that we will we'll get some fires here, but we are prepared with the APZ side. Council consistently helps out with the RFS.
Okay, are there any further questions of John? If not, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Strawn, seconded Councillor Jordan, and the recommendations will read that the information contained in the General Manager's monthly report be noted, and 1, A, the General Manager be authorised to commence and ultimately finalise the process of assuming the management of the Murrumbidgee Early Learning Centre, taking on all the assets, liabilities and staff of the centre and the incorporated association, previously the Murrumbidgee Preschool and Kindergarten Incorporated. B, further to allocate in the 2023-2024 council budget at the quarterly budget review, which is the end of the quarter of September 2023, $250,000 to enable the transition and continued operation of this service. 2, council determines that the number of councillors for the next term of office remain at 9, comprising of 3 councillors for each of the 2 wards. And 3, council adopt the General Manager's performance appraisal criteria document, setting out key performance indicators council wishes the General Manager to achieve. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 5, please.
Item number 5 is just in relation to the adoption of 3 policies relating to IT or cybersecurity. So these have been largely based on guidelines and models released by Cybersecurity New South Wales. They've been presented to councils previously at a workshop back in June. Eric has also reviewed them, and council IT managers also provided them as well. So just proposing that those 3 policies be adopted at this stage.
Are there any questions of Caitlin, please, regarding those policies? If not, would somebody like to move Moved Councillor Perkins, seconded Councillor Saxton, and the recommendation will read: the draft cyber security policy, IT security policy and access control policy be adopted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 6, please.
Okay, Young Street subdivision water main proposal. So this report addresses the water pressure issues to accommodate future expansion of the 55 lot subdivision and any other further expansion through Briggs Road. The council put a recommendation through for a design and construct of a new water supply pipeline to the Young Street subdivision.
Are there any questions of Tom, please? Councillor Curtin.
Yeah, based on the recommendation, says that you're putting in we're going to hook up, but we're going to put a T-stop.
Correct.
Into the position. I'd like to put forward that we actually put a valve in there instead of just putting a T-stop, and that will allow, if you ever want to flush the main or you want to connect into the future, you've already got the valve, so you've done all the earthwork and everything once instead of doing it twice.
So Councillor Kirby, that T-stop's only based on those dead ends from the existing reaching system at Darlington Point. There will be scouring points within the pipeline. We haven't gone to design yet, so once the design gets back, we'll have scouring points in place. That reason.
You're not familiar with a scouring point is?
It's exactly that, for flushing.
Oh, okay. My opinion is there should be something that should be connected, ready to go. And the other point I'd like to make on the design is there's been some changes to the direction of the lines, which has been good, which has been an improvement. But from the water tower that is planned, I would rather see the line go behind the cemetery instead of in front of the cemetery, where where the levee bank is, but just off that, the reserve where the levee bank is, coming behind the cemetery, because there's no need. We'll be doing infrastructure works at the front of the cemetery, and we'll be doing drainage. So I can't see why there's a need to run that line down the road where we've already put the footpath in, and we're doing work out the front on the highway. I'd rather see the line go in behind the cemetery, where we've got clear access, and where we've got the levee bank that we back onto. So that means it's not going to be utilised for anything in the future, and we're not constructing over the top of the main water line.
Yep.
So
I'll take that on board with,
Yep.
when we talk.
Yep. No, as apart from that, the changes that have been made and where the new changes are, I think, definitely on the right. So yeah, just my concern to make sure that the dead end mains are done. If we're going to connect them, we're going to connect them with valve, so we don't have to revisit it and rebid and waste council's money and reinventing the wheel, as to say.
Thank you, Councillor Curtin.
Thank
Are there
you.
any further questions regarding this item? If not, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Curtin, seconded Councillor Straw. And the recommendation will read that council proceed with the design and construction of the water supply pipeline, the Young Street subdivision. Put the recommendation, those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Item number 7, please.
So the proposed road closure to receive.
Yep.
We have an application from a resident in Murrumbidgee for a proposed road closure. They would like to proceed with the road closure down Performance Lane.
I'd like to move the recommendation.
Moved Councillor Curtin, seconded Councillor Gilbert. Is there any, hold on, there's further comment?
My comment on that parcel is up to 23,500. To either decrease that price or increase that price would set a precedent for into the future that could harm the council. So I believe we should go with the recommendation as well.
Okay, any further comment? No, so,
And the recommendation is based on valuation.
yep,
We do with all sales at Polyandry to go, so
In Murrumbidgee Council.
Murrumbidgee Council, yeah.
I think it's good business practice to proceed along those lines. So would somebody, if there's no further comment, would somebody like to move? I'll move, sorry, gentlemen. I'll put the recommendation which will read that one, councillors the roads authority close the road reserve as indicated in attachment 6, plan number 23/10100, DP 229005 and DP 756391, Norman Lane, Logie Brae, between Duncan's Road and Wolf Road, by notice published in the Government Gazette. 2, council authorise the sale of the proposed road to Augusta Nominees Proprietary Limited for $23,520 plus GST, provided that the land comprised in the closed road at DP 229005 and DP 756391 is consolidated into one lot. And 3, all costs associated with the road closure be borne by Augusta Nominees Proprietary Limited. And 4, the common seal of council be affixed to any document requiring to be sealed and delegate to the general manager authority to sign any documentation necessary to give effect to this resolution. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Item number 8. Yes, we should. Would you like to proceed, please? Oh, sorry, I thought he was back.
Okay, this is the revised tree management policy. Council, we went out to our submissions to the public and 28 days, but no submissions were received on the policy. As I can see that the recommendations the revised tree management policy be adopted. So,
Somebody like to move? Move Councillor Purpose, seconded Councillor Sherburne. Are there any questions or commentary regarding cancer? No? I'll put the recommendation that the revised tree management policy be adopted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you.
Just in relation to that, there's part of being polyamorous in Darlington Point, I've had comments from both communities in relation to the tree management policy. Favour of it, thought it was great. Things.
Yeah, I had comment in regards to how significant the tree manifest was and the variety. I thought that was great.
It's really valuable feedback. Thank you, Tom, for doing that. Item 9, please.
okay. The change in our previous tender, over around 18 months ago, I approached council for the purchase of 3 Toro 4-wheel drive mowers. To date, we still have not got delivery of those mowers. And through our plant committee, I would like the recommendation of council to actually remove 2 of the purchases from Toro and that we only purchase 1 and keep the tender alive by purchasing. So I require council's consent to remove the 2 items from the tender.
You also got a business plan,
Sorry?
and source 2 more.
Oh yeah, well the recommendation is then we then go back out to quotation and source 2 other mowers.
So, would somebody like to move? Move Councillor Strong, second Councillor Gilbert. Tom, why the change in approach?
All based on delivery time, we just action to talk based on these type of mowers, and we've actually gone back out to to the commercial world and realised that other brand names have got those type of mowers sitting ready to go to be bought.
Local fellows will get a chance at it.
Yes, they have it.
Is there a reason why we're continuing with the 1 mower?
But that mower will be the replacement mower in Drillbury, the one we bought. That would be a replacement mower. We have that particular mower in Drillbury that we bought from an auction group. That's now got around 3,500. But once this gets delivered, that will get replaced. We will get our money back on our item that we withdraw from auction.
Is there a delivery time on that one? Well, really?
This is the problem with Toro. It's when it comes.
Yeah. Honestly, that doesn't suit me. I don't think it's. You have no indication of what.
Funny thing was,
I don't think it's.
with Toro, the Donald Ross Drive, with Toro, the Donald Ross Drive solar farms, they originally 6 of the tires, and they waited, still way overrated the last 2 years. They ended up going up to Queensland and buying from Queensland. So I don't know whether Toro, New South Wales and Queensland are a different lot, but they bought 3 of them brought back down here, which couldn't be delivered in New South Wales previously. Strange how Toro worked, why they haven't adopted it throughout.
In reply, Councillor Curfew, is that we still have a mower that we're using. So once the other one becomes available, it's just replenishing our plant.
My major thing is 3 mowers, same brand, same service, same part catalogue. You know, if you're going to drop one, you might as well drop 3, reinvest in 3 of the same. So all your parts catalogue, all your servicing, everything is all the same, which assists your maintenance and planning.
So we are doing that, but we're going to have brands, Toro and John Deere.
Not exactly what I'm saying. What I'm saying is drop Toro and get 3 of the same item, so you have the same parts, move forward. It's a lot easier, I believe,
but sometimes some model mower can't do the same job as what the other ones do.
That's right. And
Toro's completely different to a John Deere.
we could say the same thing about our whole truck fleet,
Yeah.
but that doesn't happen.
But you make
We
a
have to
point that
manage
all mowers
what
have to
we
do the same
manage.
job.
Pardon?
All mowers
So
have to do the
So
same
trucks-
job.
the critical point here is that every Toro mower's got life. The mowers we've got in Colliamble and Darlington Point don't have life. We need to get yesterday for Colliamble and Darlington Point.
And that's what we're doing with this.
Yeah.
But you're waiting again.
Yeah, but we can
Toro,
wait.
where I can't see
Still
it's
got life.
necessary.
No, we've
There's
got.
still life in the mission.
Yeah, I just can't see the necessary.
So if we're back here in 12 months and Toro haven't delivered, place the other one, then we'll ask council to cancel it.
By that time, we might have bought 3. By buying 3, we may have got a discount on
Well,
purchasing.
we did, but they just can't deliver. But they would still honour that promise.
So they're exactly the same product, Tom?
No,
No.
not in Europe.
They mow grass, but they.
No, well, I had actually worked that figure out myself, but on the same, do we have the same, yeah, I like actually, Tom. Well, I thought we might have bought in the cattle. What a good idea. So we are looking at like for like.
We are looking at like for like, but we're buying the 72-inch deck. They are slightly smaller.
They're smaller. And is that prudent? Is that the smart thing to do, to buy something that is
We've
smaller?
consulted through the plant committee and the operators, and that's the way forward.
Okay, that's good.
And what about the safety issue? Like the Toro mower is enclosed, so it's good for some safe. Is these 2 72-inch deck windows the same?
They're cabinised with air conditioning. So they're compliant to WHS.
Who would have thought lawnmowers were such an exciting conversation? Very important, obviously, it's still good to have a conversation.
Just look out there.
Yeah. Well,
Community.
did somebody move this?
Yes.
Really? Oh, good. Okay, so are there any further questions? If not, we'll put the recommendation, which we'll read, that in relation to vendor panel tender, reference CP 301859, council endorse the recommendation from the plant committee to 1, accept delivery of 1 only Toro Groundmaster 4010-D four-wheel drive mower. 2, advise Toro we no longer wish to take delivery of the additional 2 mowers due to the prolonged delays in delivery times. And 3, source quotations for the supply and delivery of 2 72-inch deck mowers. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 10, community engagement proposed road closure for the sports precincts. Council obviously went out on the 1st of August, its submissions to August. As you can see there from the table of social media, we reached out to a number of people, and the amount of engagements we had were very limited. In all, we then received 7 submissions in writing, obviously from the Collianley Gym, football, netball, personal people that obviously use that road network, preschool, Collianley educator, and squash clubs. On recommendation, it seemed that, and the notices that were given, that the road access be kept open and that no road closure proceed. That we continue on with formalising the car park, or we just basically to conceal it, leave it as it is, and tidy up areas that are of concern.
Commentary, please. Or somebody like to move? Move Councillor Blake, second Councillor Rice. Comment or questions, please, for Tom.
I just got a comment that, yeah, if we're ever in doubt, get back to the community. They'll let us know what they want. I think it's a good process. In some ways, lucky we undertook it. I think we've got a good outcome.
Any further questions or comments? Or happy to proceed?
Comment.
Councillor Curtis.
Reading the reports, there is, yes, leave the road open, but there is also a need when there's high traffic areas to try to reduce that flow and there's network and not to report the same. Maybe there's some way that during a high traffic event or something, that road can be bollard or chained or something to try to reduce the. It's a 10K road anyway.
Well, that would be up to the event organiser at the time. If there's a football match on, but then approach council and say, can we barricade this road?
No, I think, Tom, they're talking about in Jerilderie. As you go around the oval, there is a gate, just a swinging gate that is closed on game day. It allows horticultural trailers to come through, but during the netball games and the football games, that gate is closed. 95% of the time it's open, but on game days or sporting carnivals or whatever, it's closed. So that traffic, that pedestrian traffic is held safe by the fact that it's just not open access way.
So we already do the same thing in
it's
other.
done there. It's not a hard yes.
So, Councillor Kirby, would you? Gate system in place?
No, I'm quite happy to see. You just need to be aware that there's something going forward to utilise other people's.
I guess we could put a gate system in there.
No. We don't need a gate system. We need a piece of steel that goes like this that stops cars driving through it. It's just a swinging gate. That's all it is.
Like you have when you go into the mountains and the forest trails.
Yes, that's exactly all it is. Yeah.
So the one at Jerilderie is around near the netball courts.
Yeah.
Tom, that's where
Yes,
it's
no, I
going.
understand.
In the sandpiper street.
Yeah.
But
One
I'm
on the
asking if
page.
we change this
No,
recommendation.
Sandpiper
The recommendation is proceed with the design and construction.
Yeah.
The design does not show any gate system.
That's good, leave it out
Well, we won't
later.
as soon as the other work's done.
I'll talk to the footy club and netball club first, then the principals.
Yeah, it just allows that safe passage on game day when the pedestrian traffic is high.
Quite happy to proceed with the recommendation.
Yes.
The work and the construction, the drainage, everything can go forward. And we'll visit that as a committee and involve the stakeholders at a later date to achieve that outcome. So we'll no impact on this recommendation.
No.
Or sign,
Okay. Well, that's your job too. Okay, so if there's no further commentary or whatever, have we got a movement as well? Yep. The recommendation will read that council proceed with the proposed design and construction of the Collianley Sports Precinct car park with the access road between the netball court and change rooms to remain open. I'll put the recommendations. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Okay, item number 11, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Item 11, for consideration of needs and Rivers Charity Tracking Alliance Council, the readers of the biannual event, involves tractors and other movements through very ever-driven environment council area over a 7-day period in March next year. There's a section in Murrumbidgee council areas involves the human way. This is a high risk event under our events policy and requires the endorsement.
They came here 12 months ago, 8 months ago, and they used number 2A change rooms as their amenities, and they had problems with hot showers and doors. I believe next year they're going to and it should be quite okay for that. They are looking forward to again being Tim Collier and a good night. Well looked after last year.
Okay. Councillor Black. I'll move Councillor Black.
I'll second.
Second with Councillor Gilbert. The recommendation will be council endorse the instead distributed charity tracks allowance from the 17th to the 23rd of March 2024. With the recommendation, those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried.
Thank you. Madam Mayor, item 12 relates to the St John Financial Sculpture Mission unveiling. Goes for 5th of May 2024. It's recommended that council endorse the financial sculpture unveiling on Sunday, 5th of May. And it's an event close to highway required endorsement. Sorry, I was saying
You're not close enough with you.
Okay. Somebody like to move Councillor Black, second Councillor Frost. Are there any questions of Gary, please, regarding this?
Just, what is it, May 5th?
Yeah.
How long before that will it actually be in place? And the fact that we'll have to be organised with where it's being placed, and it will be all in hand, I'm sure.
So the original date was a date in March, and I got even had conversations with the sculptor who set a date when we would be voluntarily installed in place in time to meet it. So he couldn't meet that. He wasn't confident on the March date. He was very confident we were told on the 5th of May. So possibly we'll still put it there in March, April. So we are still waiting for engineering notification. We've got no idea how heavy it is, what it is, or anything else like that. So Egan is working with the sculptor, and unless Tom knows, so you know now.
Sorry. The weight of the sculpture is just under.
We could design a piece of concrete to that then.
And obviously the location of the sculpture is already being formed. Transport New South Wales are being consulted, have no issue with the sculpture going before. My understanding is that maybe CCT might be based on the sculpture.
On the top of the horse's head, is that what you're suggesting? Or?
By who suggested that?
What came from that committee, in fact,
Do they have a current fundraising program to pay for that? No. Anyway, I guess because it will now become councils, that I thought to preserve it and ensure its safety. That is a consideration, but it's also a cost. So we need to realistically price that and see how we go.
The plaques that is associated with gathering there are plaques associated with.
Yeah, there's going to be
explanation,
storyboards all going around. In relation to that, we have engaged another lady.
I hope it's not as horrible.
No.
Just for the data, for the research, for everything.
It was made very clear that any play across the council footprint is council's responsibility to sanction, which took a little bit of convincing. As I really like to acknowledge Edie's work in this space because it has been challenging and really good job get it to where she's got, and obviously Tom's engaged in this process also. So it will be an attraction. The storyboard will be appropriate, and they will. We've got not only somebody writing the content, but also engaged in the graphics also. Okay, somebody like to move, please. Oh, right, and the recommendation will read, council endorsed the Monash sculpture official unveiling on Sunday the 5th of May 2024. Put the recommendation, those in favour please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 14, please.
Probably just quickly, I reported it in my GM's report, the high level things last month. So these are just the things that have come out. We meet again on the 28th of November at Canberra. We'll sit down with the Minister to ask him to park and same Minister. But everything is there is hopefully self-explanatory. The biggest thing was our strategic planning that we did on that day, get that formalised, and that's will be our approaches to the Minister moving forward. Any questions?
I have a comment. It's really important, even though it's a stretch, that the council is actually at the table when these task force meetings occur, because if you're not, you disregard it. So I just think the effort it takes to get there and the cost that it does assume is very valuable, and it's really good that we have the strength at the table so that our part of the world is considered when all these decisions are made. Okay. Somebody like to move that these minute meetings be tabled. Somebody move. Councillor Bryce, seconded Councillor Churgwin. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 14, please.
Minutes from the local Murrumbidgee Council's traffic committee. It was an e-meeting, which is obviously via emails and etc. It was just the adoption of the clean air vintage flood rally on.
Okay.
Sorry, which is the waiting trees.
But it does include also the Spring Festival. Yeah. Would somebody like to move, please? That these move Councillor Blake, seconded Councillor Murphy. Are there any questions of Tom regarding these? Yes? No? I'll put the recommendation if they be noted and accepted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 15.
Item 15 is the monthly investment for August. So again, just a monthly report that we're required to present every month. The end of August, we had about $32 million investment. About half of that was Bendigo Bank, outperformed the benchmark rate year to date and for the month. So nothing really out of the ordinary to report there. So just recommend that it be voted.
Okay, somebody like to move, please. Move Councillor Saxon, second Councillor Black. Are there any questions of Caitlin, please, regarding this report? If not, the recommendation will be the council note the monthly investment reports, identifying all money council has invested under section 6 of the Local Government Act 1993. With the recommendation, those in favour please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Item 16, please.
Madam Mayor, item 16 provides council with an update 2023 delivery program. As the council is aware, council has adopted a delivery program for the life of this council, and we provide to council a 6-monthly update on that. This is the second 6-monthly update, or the first annual report to council. Status of the actions required under the delivery program. The reports attached to council at the end of the information section on the paper, and I'll have to answer any questions. Council,
Would you like to move, please? Move, Councillor Vaughan, seconded Councillor Turkey. Any questions from Gary, please, regarding the delivery program review?
Gary? On the delivery program, under section 4.1.2, promote our area a great place to do business and invest. 0.4121, champion a transport hub at the intersection of Sturt Highway and the Fitting Way. Is that directly related to the ship, or is it part of the master plan of the Common Point Wadeye side intersection?
Madam Mayor, it probably fits under both areas. So it was identified by council strategic action for the council. Since that was identified under strategic plan, the ship development is occurred and it's occurring. So at the end of the day, it's likely that that will occur whether it's decided by council or not ship.
The reason I ask that is I believe that designated transport hub should be part of our master plan, and it's not in the Darwin Point master plan. So I'd like to make that a line item in the master plan so we can then expand on action 4121.
Confidential, though.
No, it's not what I'm talking about.
It's the
Very understand.
creation of a
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions of Gary? Councillor Major.
Oh, yeah, probably not Gary's area, but just the review council's assets management. So it's 3.111. I think it's you, Tom, but yeah, it's an asset management framework and policy plan, complete asset management plan. So we've got it, it's due for completion in December 23. What's holding us up for the roads and sewer asset management plans?
Comment or question?
A question, what's holding us up?
Asset, the AMPs, it's really about data. We've now fine-tuned all the data around our transport, so we call transport our roads. So
yep.
As we know, we've measured our road network, we've also measured AI now, and hopefully by the end of this year, I will be able to present an AMP roads and transport. So you asked me.
You did present some of that in February to us. Yep, some of the data.
So February's workshop was based on level of service. So
yep.
we got those thumbs up there from council. That's the way we're going to go, and that's what we're adopting within our AMP. So the AMP will show us the long-term financial goals for the next 10 years, how we're going to spend our money on it.
Which I see is very important because it's not only our financial, but it's our work plan. That's correct. So we reckon December 23, we're on the money. Good stuff. Just another comment in general, I think good to look back at your delivery program and acknowledge the wins. So certainly the FOGO has been a big win. When we talk to some other councils that don't have it implemented at the minute, so I think that's a big pat on the back for management and the team. Yeah. So well done there. And then obviously we did talk about it earlier, the integrated water management plan. Yeah. It's disappointing moving so slowly. very disappointing, especially when you look at the breakdowns and that,
When
with the
our
plan.
options are now in draft, and a reply from them here, and that of the option based on document.
So what's the time frame on that?
That was
Do we get a review of the?
once that document's all completed, I will then present that.
Are there any further questions regarding this? Mover and seconder? Done. Okay, the recommendation will read that the progress report on the Murrumbidgee Council Free Program for the 30th of June 2023 be received as information. The recommendation, those in favour please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Item 17, please.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, item 17, license to council development applications approved during August 2023. Item 3, information.
Okay, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Blake, seconded Councillor Churgan. Are there any questions of Gary regarding this information? If not, I'll put the recommendation which will read the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation August 2023 report be noted. Those in favour please say aye. Those against, carried. Okay. Would somebody like to move this into confidential, please? Move Councillor Churgan, seconded Councillor Curtin. Those in favour please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Okay, we move to item number 18. And the recommendation will read, resolved on the motion of Councillor Gilbert Mr. 1, Council endorsed recommendations of the tender evaluation to accept the tender from Daylight Truck Swabber for the purchase of a Fuso Canter 515 wide cab MWB for $95,439.98, excluding GST, vendor panel VP 373899, and 2, contract documents and any other associated documents to be executed on behalf of the Council in accordance with Clause 165 of the Local Government Regulation by the General Manager, Director of Infrastructure as the Principal's representative. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour please say aye. Those against, carry. Thank you. Tender supply, registration and delivery of cabin and chassis 6.51.5 tonne, SC 657. Resolved on the motion of Councillors Gilbert and Strawn that 1, Council endorse a recommendation of the tender evaluation team and all trucks for the purchase of 2 by new Hino 716 Tipper Pro 300 for $75,436.12 each, totaling $150,872.24, excluding GST, vendor panel VP 373902, and 2, contract documents and any other associated documents be executed on behalf of the Council in accordance with Clause 165 of the Local Government Regulation by the General Manager, Director of Infrastructure as the Principal's representative. Tender, supply, registration, delivery of an 11-tonne tipper, SC 657. Please, there it is. Resolved on the motion of Councillors Churgan and Black that 1, Council endorse a recommendation of the regulation team and accept the tender from Black Box Wodonga for the purchase of the Isuzu FQFRR 110-260 Auto MWB for $149,402, excluding GST, vendor panel VP 373904, and 2, contract documents and any other associated documents be executed on behalf of the Council in accordance with Clause 165, the Local Government Regulation by the General Manager, Director of Infrastructure as Principal Representative. And tender supply, registration and delivery of 30-tonne drop deck widening low loader. Resolved on the motion of Councillors Black and Gilbert that 1. Council endorse the recommendation of the tender evaluation team and accept the tender from Midland Industries Proprietary Limited for the purchase of the model GA ST-3 tri-axle drop deck widening low loader for $221,004.66 excluding GST. Tender reference RFT 0002-2023. 2. Contract documents and any other associated documents be executed on behalf of the Council in accordance with Clause 165 of the Local Government Regulation by the General Manager, Director of Infrastructure as the Principal's representative. Let's the meeting closed.
Oh, no, you guys talk about the free post.
Oh, okay. Yes, don't turn me off yet, George. I think, as I mentioned previously in my mayoral report, I'd like to congratulate the Julie under-14s for their grand Saturday, and I'd also like to wish the Darlington Point and Collamley Rugby League seniors good luck on Sunday in the Group 20 Grand Final. So, just hoping that they are successful. They're already successful with having finished where they have during the year, but let's hope that they are very successful on Grand Final day.
And I would like to inform the community that our local policeman, Tony Ledbetter, has taken another job within the police force. We'll be finishing before the end of the year. We'll be expecting, he said, that applications for that position to be filled to be advertised very shortly. Now, Tony's been a huge part of our community. He has involved himself in many aspects with us, including at the moment being president of the Rugby League Club that Mayor just spoke about. And I would like to wish Tony and his wife Elle all the best in their future. And they are staying within our community for the time being, after he takes his leave from the schools. So thank you very much, Tony, for your service to the community of Collamley and Darlington Point.
Thank you very much, Julie.